We on? Yeah, yeah, I'm right back at you like I never left, and I'm gonna go this hard to my last breath. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul Moon. You already know what you're gonna get when you step in this room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. And while I'm here, I'm gonna make the information direct and clear, because a lot of y'all can't hear. Yeah, yeah, now. Welcome back to Make My Ancestors Great Again. This is another episode of Religion Develops Insanity. This is a show I created. It's also a 7 series lecture with the same title on my page. You go to live videos and you can watch them in their entireties. But today I'm going to share a video from Christopher Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens was one of the four horsemen. He was a journalist. He was an author. Um, he wrote for Vanity Fair. He wrote a book that went number two, number one on the best New York best-selling list and all this type of stuff. Number two only to what is it? The big book everybody was. I don't know if it was Lords of the Ring or something like that, but he went number two to the only to that book. So um, he wrote a book called God Is Not Great in 2007. He died in 2011, and he was one of the four horsemen, a world renowned atheist, but he was a wealth of information. You don't have to see atheism as a form of saying, okay, turn away from that person's political knowledge, turn away from his worldly knowledge, turn away from his theological knowledge. You don't have to say that because a person is an atheist. There were plenty of atheists who gave great contributions to the planet, just like there are plenty of great religious men who gave their contribution to the world. So this gentleman gave his contribution to the world, and I respect him for that. So I'm gonna share a video with you when he's talking about people didn't believe that a person can innately have wrong and right in them. If you believe that a person has wrong and right in them, I guess it cannot be true unless it comes from a divinely author, and that's just not true, because a lot of these religions didn't exist when human beings was roaming the planet. So religions are very new. So he's gonna be talking about things like that. So let's look at the video. I don't own it. You can find it and watch it wherever you can in its entirety. Like I say, the gentleman name is Christopher Hitchens. He did debates and lectures all across the world until he passed away from cancer. Well, pneumonia. He was fighting cancer. He passed away from pneumonia in Houston, Texas. So you can find it and watch it wherever you can in its entirety. I don't own it. I forgot to get the YouTube channel name, but wherever you find it at, you can watch it. This is a fair use. Let's look at the video, and I'll give my thoughts and opinion and elaborate on what I mean when I take this, what he's saying, and tell you why, why, why I consider this as being a part of what I'm talking about in these short videos on religion develops insanity. It equates to that. Let's listen to him.
On our integrity, our basic integrity, in knowing right from wrong and being able to choose the right action over a wrong one, I think one must repudiate the claim that one doesn't have this moral discrimination innately, that no, it must come only from the agency of a celestial dictatorship, which one must love and simultaneously fear. What is it like? I've never tried it. I've never been a cleric. What is it like to lie to children for a living and tell them that they have an authority that they must love, compulsory love, what a grotesque idea, and be terrified of at the same time? What's that like, I want to know?
What he's speaking about there is he's saying information that come out, we must discriminate against. We must say that's erroneous nonsense. But in religion, it develops insanity to the tune that we didn't have any laws. We didn't have any way of governing ourselves. We didn't have any way, any standard of holding ourselves to as human beings until religion popped on the scene. And he always give an estimate of roughly 100,000 years. And then he said, okay, heaven and God just sat back and watched for 98,000 years. And then they interjected with this Jesus the Christ, murder and suffrage and things like that to die for your sins. So It makes a lot of sense. But when you're born, you innately have decision making skills. You know what's wrong and you know what's right. A child doesn't have to be taught not to kill his mother. Okay. If a child kills his mother, he kills off his feeding source. He kills off his supply of just everything that the mother brings innately to that child so the child can be sustained. All the mothering, all the teaching, all the caregiving goes away. So we already know this innately, which means you're born with it. You know right from wrong. No one has to teach you this, and you don't need a religion to do so. So that's what he's speaking about. And then he said, I've never been a cleric. What is it like to lie to children? Tell them that there's compulsory God, he loves you, but he hates, I'm sorry, he loves you, but he hates you at the same time. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. I'm gonna go back just a second here.
That they have an authority that they must love, compulsory love, what a grotesque idea, and be terrified of at the same time. What's that?
I'm sorry, I misquoted him. He said, what is it like to tell children that you have a God that loves you, but you should be terrified of him at the same time? Okay, let's let him continue.
Like, I want to know. And that we don't have an innate sense of right and wrong. The children don't have an innate sense of fairness and decency, which of course they do. What is it like? I can personalize it to this extent. My mother's Jewish ancestors are told that until they got to Sinai, they'd been dragging themselves around the desert under the impression that adultery, murder, theft, and perjury were all fine. They get to Mount Sinai only to be told it's not kosher after all. I'm sorry. Excuse me. We must have more self-respect than that.
That's a fact. I want to stop right there and just interject. He's concluding now, but he said he can give you an example. His mother's Jewish ancestors were told by the Bible. He's speaking about the Talmud, the Torah, the Tanakh, and things like that. He's saying in the Pentateuch, everything was lawless. Murder, adultery, everything was free. You can kill at will, you can do anything, rob and steal, and you didn't have no sense until you got to Mount Sinai. And when Moses went up there and got the 10 Commandments, that's when law began. He's saying that's erroneous. Again, he's saying, excuse me, you have to give us more respect and decency than that. We had a standard of which to hold ourselves to before the 10 Commandments. And if we didn't, we would have never got that far as a human being race. And that's facts. It don't take a rocket scientist to say, oh, the whole world was just out of tune, killing everybody and destroying and killing everything until the 10 Commandments came about. No, I can almost say the opposite. After the 10 Commandments came out, more killing began.
For us, for ourselves, and for others. Of course, the story is a fiction. It's a fabrication exposed conclusively by Israeli archaeology. Nothing of the sort ever took place, but suppose we take the metaphor. It's an insult. It's an insult to us. It's an insult to our deepest integrity. No, if we'd believed that perjury, murder, and theft were all right, we wouldn't have got as far as the foot of Mount Sinai or anywhere else. Now.
Okay. Thank you. I want to just take my hats off to Christopher Hitchens. I thank him for all this great work and putting a lot of thoughts into the universe and contributing with his great work to the continuation of thought. He said nothing like that happened in regards of the 10 Commandments. He said it's been proven conclusively with Israeli archaeology that nothing of the sort ever took place. Nothing. Israeli archaeology have concluded that they don't have enough archaeological finds to deem something like that as plausible. It never took place, which means it's non-historical. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam falls flat on their face. If you don't have the 10 Commandments, you don't have Moses, none of this never happened. That's the end of religion. It falls flat on its face. Simple as that. Salute Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul, Moon. You already know what you're going to get when you step in the room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. This is what I do, and I love to do it. And before I take back what I said, I ask them all to it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. And if you feel like you want to do something for me, like and subscribe because it don't cost you a fee. Education and preparation is the first step to retaliation. So before you pick up a weapon, pick up some knowledge. Yeah, yeah.